to the Esports Connected podcast. I am so excited to have Kevin Pustizzi and the Ryan Harbinson. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about. Marketing.
We only have like an hour, so.
I know. So I love marketing, and it's amazing very early on how much I appreciated marketing, and we'll get into that. But first I want to introduce you guys. Kevin Pustizzi has launched multiple companies, starting with news and entertainment and video production when he was 23, but his experience goes so far beyond that. He's the president of Clearbridge. His branding skills and business services to large and small companies goes beyond his natural talents of insight, innovation, creativity, and let Kevin help you bear your brand. Also, Kevin, you're so great at finding talent. It's such an honor to introduce the Harbinson, Ryan. You know, he has more than 15 years of experience in marketing. He's the business development vice president, right?
Director, not yet.
Oh,
soon.
Former CEO Ryan, you have done so much. You've, Funko Land from, and GameStop. And, you know, I love, there's nothing too large or small. You're a master connector. You never have a bad day. You're on top of the latest trends. You're a publisher. You've published, is it like you've had your hands in over 100 games? Oh my goodness, we could go on and on. You're a jack of all trades, a player, a designer. Who wouldn't want you to lead their brand? It's just so cool to have you guys both here. What else would you add that I may have missed? Because there's so much.
Yeah, for myself, like you kind of touched on it. So my background's in the retail space. So I started in the game space for a long time. So retail was a big part of my early days, and then started a development company when I was 24. We've got 2 games published on Nintendo DS, a bunch of stuff on the app stores. We were one of the first apps to launch on the iPad store, which is crazy to even think that was its own individual store at one point. Worked for publishers for many years and kind of lived in that like Game Boy Advance, the PS3 realm. Worked with a lot of licenses and distribution and all that. So a little bit of all of it in the game space.
And boy, for people, you know, that are listening and can't see, you have quite a collection behind you. Of the projects that you have been part of. And boy, if I just encourage anyone that's not watching this to definitely watch it. Is there anything back there that's your favorite?
Yeah, if you look behind next to the Halo helmet, the little blue box is actually our DS dev kit that we made a couple games on. So it's kind of cool.
Very cool. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Show and tell. All right. Mr. President, let's hear from you.
Yeah, nothing really exciting. I just, I enjoy marketing. I love marketing. It's my passion, and I'm not the expert at marketing by any means. I have found an amazing team to be able to, take ideas and just take them to the next level. Brainstorm with different companies to come up with amazing creative and really hone in on the target audience. But that's really my shtick, is just finding people who are much smarter than me and just letting them do their thing. That's really what it comes down to, and how you build a successful business.
Yeah, I could attest to that. I mean, your company culture is okay. For starters, I'll never forget when we met and I looked up your website and it said something like, "We'd love to tell you where your brand needs to go, but in a nice way." And I was like, "Oh man," I personally fell in love with your content. I liked the clever. I mean, your website's great, but the content, it's clever, it's fun, and I was like, that's his culture, and it just says it. And that's when I knew. I was like, this guy is really doing something great. And then when you guys said you had a Chicago office, I was like, well, forget about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, marketing has changed so much, and I just have to ask, why, and how? Like, how do you get to like create such fun content? So cool. I mean, it's some of my favorite. So go ahead, tell us a little bit about that journey.
So yeah, I started a digital marketing company first. That's what Clearbridge started as, and then really we were doing digital marketing in 2014 when it was something that was newer to most businesses. And then everybody started hopping on the trend. Everybody was trying to serve as many impressions as possible. And really, I wanted to differentiate ourselves. So we shifted to become a branding agency and focus more on the messaging and the creative, which is much more fun than just, figuring out an audience and serving ads. For most people, for some people on my team, that's all that matters. But it's awesome to create something and just know that we're going to change a business for the better. And just by some catchy phrase or some eye-catching creative, it's, when we go into a pitch and we knock it out of the park and just know that that's gonna drive an insane amount of revenue for businesses. That's why I love it, and it just made me fall in love with it even more when we see those results. And it's just fun. It's a fun thing to do. It's not. We have a lot of fun doing it, coming up with different concepts, figuring out what works, what doesn't work, and then just optimizing it from there. But starting off as a digital agency, we have our roots in digital, which is very important, obviously, in today's world. But that creative aspect is really, really where you can shine, and then applying that with the skill set that we have in digital, it just takes it that much further.
I think what we do well, Meg, too, is we love to like kind of we do social, we do websites, but that's not what we want to do. We want to tell a story like throughout the year that's kind of phased out, right? And there's so many different areas and opportunities to find the audience and kind of where they live. And every company is a different story, and every company is a different audience. And the strategy point is really a fun part too, because we're trying to figure out, we got this great creative and we've got this really fun campaign that we want to launch, but it's like, where does everybody live? And that's really when we start to kind of, after something gets launched after a month or two, and we start to see the gears start to move, and we see these great results. It's just it's really exciting to see the companies we work with, get excited. Or get sometimes a little overwhelmed because they weren't ready for all the traffic that we were going to bring in for them. So,
I was just talking to you earlier at our coffee, and this is such an important time for authenticity and storytelling, and that's what I like about your agency. I like that you guys are nimble. I like that you guys are hands-on. I like that you're a solution for our members, because I know you guys are really learning the goal, learning the brand, learning the company, learning the story, and then telling it in multiple ways, on every level. And then one thing, I came from a publishing background as well. And I remember in my early 20s when I worked at Read, which is Variety magazine now. There's several other magazines, B2B, that I worked in. And I remember having a marketing department help me for the first time. And it's unbelievable. When a marketing company nails it, or a marketing brand nails it, it's just like, oh, and that's what you guys did. Your website, and I would imagine there's a lot of pressure because you have to be your own example and always level up. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, how do you do it? Because you do.
So, the thing with a lot of marketing agencies, a lot of companies who are in the service industries, like, the cobbler's kids don't have shoes. So we try and update our website as much as possible, but a lot of times we're working on we're working on everyone else's brand, and it's really awesome to be able to do that, because you learn about so many different businesses. We have our verticals that we work within, but every company is different. Every culture is different. So it's awesome to become ingrained in all of those different businesses, and then bring to light, their ideas, what they're trying to say, who they're trying to talk to. So it's very fulfilling in the fact that we do learn so much about different industries and different businesses.
And I think what's fun too is like we get an opportunity to kind of work with people's marketing departments too, which is kind of, the ideal situation, because what we can do is, what we see is that a lot of people are overwhelmed just because there's so many things, especially just on the digital front itself. And then don't even throw the fact in if you've got, a conference that you're going to go to, and now you have to worry about the conference, and now all the digital stuff gets put on hold, and now you haven't posted in 2 months because you're working on the conference that you're going to. So like we can kind of come in and just kind of, relieve some of the pressure. And that's kind of really what we want to do. We want to work and co-manage with everybody in the company itself. So, what we do really well is kind of work on that, best in show, that corporate content, right? And then we allow the companies to kind of look and see what our new campaign looks like, what the new style is, maybe what the new taglines look like, and then they integrate that same style so that we're telling the same story together as a team, but we let them kind of do more of that culture content, right? So like when new products come in, the stuff where you're kind of going to be in the weeds, but like we can assist with like, here are some blog topics that you guys can help write, or we can assist with that. Or, do you guys have a content calendar? Like, are you planning your posts and planning what your content looks like throughout the months? And that's kind of really where we can come in and really assist. And we see people grow because now their list of 40 gets cut in half, and now it's a little bit more, manageable. And we have fun kind of doing that other side with them. So it's great.
So if you're having a client like that, how often are you meeting? Tell us about, the journey. Are you meeting monthly? Are you meeting weekly? What is it like when they hire you? What's day one? What's the journey of onboarding?
So day one is, just a all hands on deck, getting to know you meeting, figuring out, points of contact, who's responsible for which department. And then from there, we meet weekly. We meet weekly for the first few months with a designated team, and then monthly with the C-suite. And then from there, we switch to biweekly and then monthly once everything's running smoothly. But the onboarding process is one of my favorites, because that's when you really get to dive in and figure out, okay, this is what's being said now. This is how we can tweak that, and really just hone in and get to work.
I remember when you guys first joined, and I looked at your team, and what a group, so diverse, from college professors to graphic designers, full-time consultants, international people.
It's crazy. I mean, we have a good squad. So like, our VP of digital is an expert writer for Forbes. Our VP of strategy ran national campaigns for KFC and Taco Bell. So we bring this squad that is very seasoned in the industry.
I was impressed. I thought it was a really nice reflection of diversity. And I thought they would be fun,
Yeah.
And on point.
Yeah, we have the team has a ton of experience in the industry, and that's really what I was looking for when I was building an agency, because I never worked in an agency before. I just liked marketing, and it's really, I wanted to hire people that could teach me, and that's really what it's been. Is everybody has so much experience and has been in the game for such a long time, and then you also have people who are fresh out of college that just have these skills that are amazing. And you said one of our VP of strategy is a professor at Temple University, and she teaches design and art direction. So we get to kind of pick off these kids that are coming out of college, and
got a nice little farm system.
Yeah, she teaches them and says this person is going to be stellar. So we have the ability to, either watch this person or reach out to this person and offer them a job coming out of college.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I'm really excited about as well. And Deb, who I'm talking about, she's amazing. She's really taught me a lot, and also has the ability to teach others. And she just has so much knowledge. It's incredible.
It is crazy. And just from all her experience and things that we are just learning from her, and the way that she kind of approaches clients is it's amazing. Internally we call her the queen of questions, because when we bring on clients, or we kind of have early calls with myself and some of the biz dev people, Deb really gets to the bottom of things that you might not know that you're saying. So she'll ask questions and they'll say things, and we're like, oh, that's great. We can really work with that. And they're like, well, that's not a big deal. And then we be like, no, this is why this is important. And we really understand the brand. And when we get to that point, the experience of the team really does deep brand audits. And, we run through all your stuff, see kind of what the stories you've been telling before, and be like, you guys haven't used your Twitter since 2017. It might be time to delete the Twitter account, just little things like that. But it's great to utilize everybody that's been in the world for so long, and it's fun. And I think we're kicking some ass, and it's nice. So,
I can just say, even for our website, even for our social media, and thank you for your service on our marketing committee. Thank goodness we're launching our enhanced branding from all the work that you guys did last year is coming up in the next few weeks. This is not easy. You guys have looked okay, get on this social media, get off of this one, get on. We're constantly pivoting. What can you guys, we struggle, and we have a committee of 15, of you guys, so my thought is, if I were to be having a marketing department, I would want to at least meet with a team like y'all once a month, forever. Mm-hmm. It's a must. It's not anymore. You throw up a website and you leave it. this is dynamic. It's a new way.
Yeah, it's a full-time gig now. And and every, every half a year, all the trends are changing constantly. Yeah. Right now, the big thing that is huge is it's all about the engagement factor. That is kind of where it is. And that's how you can kind of create that organic, buzz around yourself. But it's comments on top of comments. It's getting involved in hashtags that are part of your business to try to get involved with those communities so they know who you are. It's also blogs, what kind of blogs are you putting out? So blogs help your SEO, because now, we use it all the time, but it's going down the peanut butter aisle, and there's a reason that Jif and all these peanut butter companies have different versions of the same product, because that's more eyes on the prize. So, when you're doing blogs and you're putting out content, it's just helping drive more traffic to the site, which is really how people find you nowadays. And if you don't have somehow people still do not have websites, which is just blows our mind, but it happens. Or they're not mobile friendly. That is huge. If you're still not mobile friendly, you're not even on Google anymore. They've just kind of discontinued your site because it's not part of the new regulations that they've had.
Yeah. Ryan, let's just not step over the fact that our largest, fastest, most engaged post from the Esports Trade Association was you. I think it was your post. Let's just put it out there. I remember
that gotta work the magic.
I was this guy's on fire. how long did it take you to create that post? I mean, there was a lot of love. I guess it was authentic TLC. It had to have
Yeah.
been a couple of hours to make the post.
I mean, I'm a designer by trade, so honestly, it was probably about a half hour, an hour
Okay.
or so.
Okay.
But it's all about the strategy and understanding it, right? So like, and that's the LinkedIn game, right? So like with that, what we do is, we have this amazing speaker group that we had at the last conference. So like what we want to do is we want to get in as many lanes as possible in everybody's feeds, right? And LinkedIn does a great job of, if we're tagging everybody in that post, everyone's going to get a notification of that post. And all we're asking is everybody does one of four things, right? Like, comment, share, or all the above. So when everybody does that, then we get in everybody else's feed, and all of a sudden now we've got this great organic content that's going out. And then while that kind of stuff is going on, we're working in the background as Clearbridge, and we're finding out who those people are, and we're getting that message in front of them through promoted ads and through search, and kind of following people around the internet, and so it's that balance that really we do well. So
You do. You don't just talk the talk. You walk the walk. And I even, you're a lot, like we were talking about in the coffee, John Davidson is like, just wait till Friday. You were like, just wait, MVP. And then you brought it. And I was like, man, and it's energy, excitement, but it is like, I hate to overuse the word authenticity, but it was genuine, and that's why I asked you. That would have taken me hours to do.
But that's all about the mentality, right? So, and that's the biz dev world that I live in, right? And it's people need to just give without expectation. I mean, that's just the way it works, right? Like, by helping everybody else out, it helps everybody grow together, and it's the name of the game. It's, as I say all the time, low and slow, patience over greed. This is how it works.
It really does. I mean, it's like the good old fashioned values we were just talking about, right? Have with our grandparents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, very true. Very true. And Ryan does a great job with that. The relationships is, we're not looking to come in and just like do a project and leave, because we become ingrained with what you do, and that's what marketing is all about, is being authentic. And it's never it's becoming more and more difficult to just simply sell something unless you have an offer, or a discount. So you need to be authentic. You need to be able to talk to your audience. Everybody wants to know what CEO is having for breakfast. Everybody is much, everybody is out there much more in the public's view. So people make decisions about your brand based on factors that don't really have much to do with your product. These days. It has to do with much more than that. So being authentic and, being honest is, one of our core, there are core values. And, it goes a long way when you, especially in marketing, because marketing has and agencies, a lot of agencies get a bad rap. Marketing agencies as a whole get a bad rap in that, we're just trying to come in, work with your marketing team because, we're smarter than your marketing team. When that's not the case. You're good at what you do, and we're good at what we do. So let's collaborate, and come up with, something amazing for your organization. But it's very important to be authentic and then build those relationships. And that's really getting back to what Ryan's talking about, is being authentic and building those relationships, and giving as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what we see too is it's two things, right? So one is it's thinking like the consumer too, right? So if you have a heating and air conditioning company, what do people do? They just type in heating and air conditioning and your zip code. And if they find you, first thing we're going to do is we're going to just look at Google reviews, right? If you have low Google reviews, we're hey, we got to get those up because we want to tell that story, right? Because how many times have you not either bought something or have not gone to a place because of what other people have said? Right. So that's a huge part. And, when we help people grow those brands and really tell that story and the content's nice, we build these amazing relationships with our clients, and then our clients become our best referral source, right? So we
Sure.
have grown our book of business just through referrals through other clients and companies that we've done great work for, because in our world, everybody's been burned by marketing and branding people. Everyone's been overcharged, and it's very hard to find the honest mechanic mentality, right? And that's us. So we are very straightforward. We want to tell you what's going on. If our strategy changes a little bit, like, we're not going to just like hit the Facebook button and then say, all right, well, we'll see you next month, and be like, oh, well, Facebook didn't do well, and it's like, well, this one did better than this one, so we want to move this over here. We're seeing that this hashtag's working better over here, or whatever it is. Like, hey, video's doing actually way better than post for you guys, so maybe
Right.
we should invest more money in video to kind of get that buzz going more. So it's
I
all
love
different
that
for everybody.
the whole seeing it through, Professor Deb, bringing her to the meeting, you're not going to get past her. Okay. So here's why you're on the show, though. You can't fake passion. Like, we got it. You guys are a great brand marketing partner. Got it. And why you're here is because Ryan, at least I know for sure, you just love esports. So let's talk about what you can do specifically for our community.
Yeah, Kev, you want to start? You want me to go?
Go ahead, Ryan. Go off on me.
I think what's nice is that we started as a digital company, right?
Everybody
so we
grabbed their coffee.
Here we go. So we started as a digital company, and Kevin and I are very aware of just the digital space, right? And esports is kind of clumped in with us in the world of esports and gaming and AI and the metaverse and NFTs and blockchain and crypto. This is all the future of where we're going. And we love this world because we love where it's going. And what we're seeing is that there's an education factor that is really rough right now, right? So with the older, the younger Gen X and the older millennials, some of those people are still kind of confused on what is happening, right? So like, we want to come in and work with companies, same deal, that have existing departments that we can come in and kind of co-manage things with you guys together, but really help tell that story and maybe dumb it down so it's not all lingo talk. Right. I think that's a big part of it too.
Yeah.
I think esports in general has a bad rap just because they only think it's Call of Duty, and that's it. Right. Or maybe picking one more big one that the average consumer is like, oh, it's Fortnite and Call of Duty. That's all anybody plays in esports. And there's so much more to it. And I think educating those people, but then also like highlighting everybody that's on the teams. And now with all the stuff that like companies like Fit Gamer are doing, where they're kind of like integrating, like, the days of Mountain Dew and Doritos are way gone. Right. And like, it's all about mental health.
Yes.
Because when we hear like, hey, oh, I'm going to be training all day, people are like, oh, you're just playing video games for 8 hours. And it's like, well, actually, we have an hour meditation session. I have a chef that makes us, or at least gives us, like, a whole like catalog of food and what to eat. And like, I think that's really fun things to do. And there's so many people that are not working directly with like Activision, who's Microsoft now, and other companies, right? That are kind of independent, that are also doing more like, as we've talked about this before too, like, there's a whole other world of like PS3 and down that is so great. Like, why can't we help people that maybe only do NES tournaments and all we do is Super Dodgeball? And how do we tell people that story about maybe more independent groups too? So the technology and all that fun digital space is kind of where we shine, and we really, really love that. So I know Kev has more to say about it as well.
Yeah, and it's not just the audience that you're trying to go after. It's also, putting out the right messaging to investors, being able to speak their lingo, putting together investor decks, putting together board reports. We do all of these things that are kind of above and beyond just, posting and advertising. So that's where I think we can truly add value to a lot of the organizations, is the ability to attract not just the audience that you want to play a game, but also investors and the right type of people that you want to be involved in your organization.
It's so interesting that you mentioned that, because we have an elevator pitch here. You guys were there at the conference in September last year. You're coming this year in August, and we have an elevator pitch. And when we receive the elevator pitch applications, the first thing I look at is the marketing quality of the deck.
Yep.
And it's just me. Like, I am in love with good marketing. And I'm not saying that I'm the best or my websites are the best at all, but they're very good. I pride myself on presenting quality pieces. And in my view, and many people's, they say they're decent. So I feel like I have a decent eye, but the deck means so much that it's just polished. Like good marketing, you don't know why it feels so good or why it looks so good necessarily. Like a 5-star hotel, you walk in the lobby and you're like, you don't know why you like it. You just like it.
But you're willing to pay a little bit more just for that.
Yeah. Exactly. And when you don't like something, you just don't know why. I'm just saying, like, you meaning like just people, right? Like, there's just well done marketing. So my goodness, if you're going to spend 50 hours creating a business plan, why wouldn't you budget in some money to have the presentation be polished?
And I think part of that too, Meg, is this is like, and I think you make a great point. Like, it's important because think about this, right? So you spend all this time, you have a great product, you're kind of lost in the weeds, and you're going to get, $1 million, $2 million to to push this out. And then you don't have an idea on how to market this item that you just received all this money, and now you're on the hook with a bunch of people. So what happens is that we come in, we help you with a couple things, right? So one is the presentation deck itself, right? So we do some amazing design, we make it look great, we keep it on brand. Maybe we help like refresh the brand a little bit as well too. But the other thing too is that we can help with strategy and what that execution looks like, right? So we want to start small and then go down from like the whole East Coast. And what we can do is we put together those budgets on what that would cost to do that. And then you can also utilize our team as part of your deck, because now you've got this marketing team in the deck, and it makes the investors feel a little bit more comfortable. And we already know what the cost of our services are going to be. They're integrated into the deck. So when you get paid, we get paid, and then we can already hit the ground running. And it makes everybody feel a lot more safe. And that's really what it comes down to.
And the investors know, they know professionalism from amateur, and they want professional teams. They want to see Professor Deb and her student from Brazil, that's doing the latest metaverse graphic. That's the coolest thing ever. They just know people, you know what I mean? Like, make the relationship early. Years ago, people used to say, make sure that you're close with your bankers, and you're close to your attorneys, and you're close to your accountants. And I'm like, for me and your marketing department.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's fun to do those. So we'd love like that, like either first or second round of investments, because they're really starting to make some noise, and it's fun to see them on the ground level and then see the success after we kind of help develop that. And that's always fun for us. We'd love to see things get launched. And, we've done a handful of startups as well, and really helped them grow over the years too. So we're no stranger to that world. So
that's really, really great advice. And I just love seeing our members come with an idea. And, just to be quite honest, I haven't seen your company help a member or yet get their funding. So that'll be a wonderful evolution for me to see. And I'll be happy to recommend you guys, because that's a journey. It's so important that when they get their first round, that they also market properly. So why not get you before they get their round?
And the risk already that's being like taken by them, right? I say it all the time. One of the worst diseases you can ever suffer from is what it coulda, shoulda, right? So when they take that leap and they take that chance, it's stressful and it's crazy. And we can just kind of help on the vision, because you get lost in the weeds after a while too, and it's you lose sleep, and it's like, oh my God, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? And then we can kind of come in and kind of Help you settle down a little bit.
Very, very early in my career, very early in my early 20s, I partnered with the marketing departments because I started off in sales, and what a difference it made for me. And so I never forgot the lesson. It used to be that, I don't know if it still is, and I want to talk about that next, like what is next. But it used to be like marketing budgets were always cut, marketing, forget about it, because the salespeople, they sell. And that was just like the old way. And I never did that.
We're music and arts. That's us. I said, we're music and arts. We always get cut first for some reason. I don't know why.
I know. But it's changing now. And that's why I want to talk about, why is it changing? What shifted? Why is storytelling so much more important than you guys tell me about the evolution. You guys are the pros here.
It's simply because there are so many more stories out there, and you have to cut through so much more clutter. And it's the same with our industry. Like everybody is a marketing expert out there. Everybody in your feed is trying to tell you how they can get you so many leads, how they can do all of these things. And it's the same with a lot of industries. Everybody is an expert, and it has turned into this, loud minority of people who are just, they are great marketers. They are able to get themselves in front of you. And that's what it's about. It's about eyeballs. But a lot of times the investment that you make in marketing is something that you need to see a return on. So when they're going out and talking about themselves, you're probably not going to get the same attention paid to your brand that they pay to their brand. And it just is a lot of noise out there that you need to cut through. So that's why it's more important than ever to focus on what your message is, how you're going to resonate with your audience, and how you're going to get that message out there. And it's really about setting yourselves apart. It's a tough thing to do when everybody is out there just barking and screaming, and it's incredible.
I mean, you got to be patient as well, too, right? I mean, there's so many more platforms than there were 5 years ago. And that's a huge part of it, right? And the platforms are changing immensely. Like when somebody does something, everybody copies it, right? So like when Instagram made stories and they were the first one to make stories, within a year, LinkedIn had stories, Twitter had stories, Facebook had stories, TikTok is now doing their thing, and then everybody else has all these shorts. So now YouTube has shorts and Facebook has shorts. So like when a trend happens, everybody copies it because that's what the people want, right? I mean, Instagram alone, we had to realize this, right? 23% of users have between 10,000 and 100,000 followers, and 26% of users have over 100,000 to 1 million. So almost half the platform is influencers selling you things. So that alone is so much noise, right? And everybody is just trying to sell everybody everything. But what happens is that everyone's doing a big blanket, right? So what we kind of come in is, as Kev said, we're doing more of that pathway. We know where everybody's at, and we're just kind of throwing elbows and kicking everybody out of the way. And, we've got our shields like 300 kind of making our way through the pile. And that's the story that we tell, right? And it's the patience factor. Like that comes over time. But when people find your content and it's fun and it's not always like buy my book, people want to know who you are. But it's just, there's so much noise. It's crazy. It really is crazy.
I like you say, buy my book. What do you guys think about books? What's next? Are people writing books anymore? Is podcasts the thing? Should we be on? You guys tell me. Kev, I could just tell you're ready.
So what's next? I mean, that's tough to answer, but it really is. I always say you need to be, you can't just focus on one avenue. You need to have a message, and you need to make sure it's consistent across every platform that is relevant to you. So just having a dedicated strategy and making sure you're on as many platforms as possible is a realistic next, I think, for people.
Okay.
You know, it's not necessarily realistic for everybody to hire a bunch of creators in-house just to focus on TikTok. And just have, you know, I've seen teams that really push the boundaries. Like, I don't know if you've seen like Duolingo with what they're doing with their TikToks. It's funny, it's engaging, and it's just kind of breaking down the barriers of the corporate industries and being more authentic, like we talked about. But just, you know, breaking down barriers between, you know, how businesses used to be run, how marketing teams used to run, and you know, pushing the envelope, I think. And you know, people don't, you know, it's more acceptable to, you know, curse a little bit, just interact more, how you would just talk to, you know, your friends, your buddies. You know, that type of messaging is more and more acceptable and more relevant. And it all goes back to how to resonate with somebody. Like, if you're trying to talk and sell somebody something that's in this this area, this generation, you want to talk that talk as well. And you want to make them comfortable with you. So that's what I think a realistic next is. But a lot of, you know, everybody's running to the metaverse right now, and brands are trying to figure out how to break into the metaverse, how to advertise within the metaverse. You know, we've been approached by many companies that are trying to sell ads within some of those environments. And is it right for the clients that we have? You know, I don't know.
And what's the percentage of people that are actually in those servers out?
Exactly. And that's a lot of the questions that these brands have that are going to be working with a lot of esports companies is, you know, what's the return? How do we track this? How do we figure out if it's working or not? And, you know, that's a challenge that I see that, you know, we can, I think we can help navigate, because, you know, we work with big brands all the time. We know what they're looking for. We know what metrics they need. So we know what to go into a pitch with, if you're trying to get a sponsorship. So that's it. It really is. It really is different, and it is changing so fast. Like, just looking at content alone, like I was building something with one of my kids, and they said, I want to do a video about this. And he's 5 years old. And so he takes my phone, he does like he does a video, and he ends it with like and subscribe. And I'm like, what the hell are you even talking about? Like and subscribe to what? You're not even on any platform.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like for more great content. And and that's really, you know, what we're trying to get ahead of, is just these kids that are even 5 years old are able to make content and frankly, you know, buying decisions. They can influence buying decisions.
Okay, wait. So your son, hold on. He's 5 years old. What's his name?
Roman.
Roman did a video of building a toy. And at the end of his video, he said, like and subscribe. I mean, that is just, you know, you must be very proud.
It's because they watch so much YouTube, and everybody says it.
I don't know if I'm a bad parent because he watches so much YouTube, or like if that's just the future, and that's like, if that's what,
that is so,
doing him a disservice.
So funny. Like, how many times, I mean, when I was growing up, I remember my mom looking at me when I said something that she said that I shouldn't have said. You know, that is just a great story. Like and subscribe.
So I think, and with that, you know, I think, and this is kind of where I see the trends going too. I think what we're seeing, and we've seen it really kind of explode over the last like 3 or 4 years, right? Is that fame is achievable for everybody. And that's really what it is, right? So we're seeing the creation of micro fame, right? So like you can have like 1 million subscribers and you're the king of yarn, right? And you can go to Walmart or Target and nobody knows who you are. But if you go to the yarn convention in wherever, you have a line out the door and they paid you 50 grand just to be there. So that is a huge thing that we're seeing, right? And it's also the exclusive content that is funding themselves, right? So like Patreon and all these other things are huge, right? So people create their own websites where you join for $80 a month, and maybe you get like, a special tchotchke thing, and then what happens is that you get exclusive content because you are part of that. So YouTube and Rumble and Vimeo and all these like video platforms are allowing these people to put their content on those pages, and maybe you get a 45-minute show that they do daily. And then they say, all right, we're going to go behind the paywall. So see everybody, we're going to do another half hour. We're going to interview this guy. And since we're not on YouTube, we can do whatever we want because we don't get kicked off by YouTube, right? Or, if you're on the Patreon, we'll do X, Y, and Z. And then you see things like Cameo coming out, right? Now, Cameo is like, hey, I'm a B-level celebrity and people will pay me $50 to say happy birthday to Kevin because I was on some show in the 80s that he loves, and here we go. So it's like this micro fame, and fame is just achievable by everybody. And it's also becoming like a micro influencer within your communities, right? So like you're saying about podcasts, right? So everybody has a podcast, which is, I think, great because you can find your interests in everything, right? So a classic story, there's these lawyers that wanted to do a podcast and no one wants to listen to a podcast about law. So they sent a survey out to all their clients, and they found out like 73% of their clients all love golf. So these 3 lawyers did a golf podcast, and they crushed it and got so much work from being like the golf guys that everyone utilized them for their law services when it made sense. So I think that is part of the gist is, again, coming back to what we talked about before, is like finding out where your audience is. And it's not buy my book. It's remember me when you need me instead of hard selling to people. And that's part of it.
All right. You guys are 2 of the most passionate guys. You make me think of the Mark Twain quote. What is it? Like the 2 best days of your life are the day you're born and the day you realize what your purpose is. And I would go on to say one more thing to Mark if he was here. I would say the third is really finding your passion, because you just can't teach it, right? And you guys just have it. I guess there's not much of a difference between purpose and passion. But still, you guys just have so much energy and excitement naturally. This has been such a great show. The best thing I've done was this show for the association and the community. Mm-hmm. Literally. And
think about how many people found out about you guys just from a friend of a friend mentality. Totally.
And our strategy for the show was just for members to share their stories. So exactly what you said, and the last was ever to have me host it. We had hosts already. I showed up just because it worked out easiest for me to show, but I wasn't planning to be the host of this. But it's just interesting how things just work when you have passion. You want to communicate a message about what you're up to, even if it's golf.
Yep. I mean, like we see it all the time, right? Like, so like you can like secret sell to people too, right? So like you could deal with a thing where maybe you have an insurance company and you're telling some story and nobody cares, right? But if you got your dog with you and maybe you're having a conversation with your dog about the insurance rates that you're doing, people are going to watch that because it's that borderline of that culture, corporate content kind of mixed together. So people, I mean, Kev knows this too. We were saying like the best content on TikTok right now is 7 seconds. 7. So that's where the mentality is. So it's quick and dirty content is where it's at right now. I mean, like for website traffic, if you get like 30 seconds on your website, crushing it. Because people are in and out. They know what they want, they find what it is, and then they leave. And they're moving on to the next thing. I mean, how many people on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. I mean, pick your platform. How long have you gone down an hour-long nothing hole? And when you're done, you're like, what did I even look at? But that's the state of affairs right now.
Yeah, that's why it's so important to be memorable.
Yep.
And I don't know how memorable we'll be on this, but
Well, yeah. So as we wrap up, I mean, who's not going to want to call you guys? Let's talk about, what are the next steps for our members to get a hold of you? What do you guys, give us some parting wisdom and some parting words.
that's call Harb. He's the man.
Call Harb.
We love to chat, have a conversation. I think part of it, what kind of separates us from everybody else, is that we thoroughly care about what we do. And it's all about, helping each other out too, right? So like, if there's opportunities, for you becoming, a client of ours, the biz dev process doesn't just stop because you signed on the dotted line, right? So now you're part of the family. And now what happens is that you get access to my network, Kevin's network, and the whole team's network. So when there's opportunities that make sense to help your business grow, we don't charge you for that. We're not like, oh, well, we have a premium package where Kevin and I will make 3 introductions for you weekly, and that'll help your. Now, we do that because we want to help you grow, and we want to see that happen because it's just all about the giving mentality, and we want to give you our services, but we also want to help you, organically make new connections. And I mean, I think that's a huge part of it. And I think too many people give and then go, hey man, I given you 3, where's my 2? And that's just not the way it works. And I don't know, we have a lot of fun and our culture is great. And, everybody's doing fun stuff. And I guess that's really it. I know it's simple and easy, but it's the way it works.
Well, and you guys are the real deal. You've come out to Chicago, you have an office here, you're great members, you guys donate your time. You've really helped us. You've walked the walk and talked the talk. And it's wonderful. We can't thank you enough as a community. Thank you for being part of the show and just part of the Esports Trade Association.
Well, thank you.
Love it.
Love
anytime you want to talk games, let me know. I got TV over here. I got 12 systems hooked up. Let's go any day.
That's great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ryan Harbinson and Kevin
Pustizzi.
Pustizzi. It's so easy. Kevin.
It's very easy.
Clearbridge Branding. Check them out. All righty. And that's another episode of Esports Connected.